rocking and rolling. Let's dive off into a real world convo for just a brief moment. I do not believe I have shared with you guys, but Mrs. Newsom has been around for quite a while in the world of education, and today is I'm just going to be very raw and very honest. Today is always a very difficult day on the calendar for Mrs. Newsom to get to. My very first year teaching, you guys know that I am from Enterprise. My very first year teaching, probably before most of you guys were even born, I was a teacher at Enterprise High School, which is where I'm from. That's the school I went to. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard at all about the tornado that hit Enterprise High School in 2007. So, March 1st, 2007 was a super, super dark day uh, for me and for our community. Like I said, it was before most of you guys were born. And just to give you like a brief story, I'm not going to fill you with a bunch of doom and gloom and focus on the positives of all of it. Just to give you like just a brief rundown of what that looked like. You guys are from South Alabama, so you know that we have bad weather, and you know that that can sometimes end in you being in the hallway, and it gets very arduous. It gets very tedious. You get very bored, and that was absolutely 100% the case that day. We had just gone into second period, well, blocks, but same difference. And we had the first alert that was actually a tornado warning. And the news had predicted for several days that that was going to be a very weather active day. So at about 9:30 or so, we had to go out in the halls. And usually, you're just in the hallway for, a brief amount of time. Usually those alerts are expired in like 30, 45 minutes, usually no big deal. But that day, since it was a highly active weather day, it seemed as though every single time it was about to expire, there was immediately another threat right behind it, that the meteorologists were seeing another hook in the weather pattern. So we ended up staying out there from that time until everything went down at 1:12. So I was teaching science, and we had the chemistry teacher that was across from us, that he had gone in and gotten some chemistry stuff, and we were doing experiments. We were all laughing and giggling. And keep in mind, this was 2007. So cell phones, or the technology associated with cell phones, were a far cry from what they are now. So most of the students, I had 27 students in my class that day. Most of them did not have cell phones that were capable of texting, and if you did have the capability to text, it was the very long version that the number one was A, B, and C, and you had to press it. So if I wanted to put a C in there, I had to press 111, and so it took 49 forevers. So my sweet, sweet daddy was constantly calling us on the phone, and I would put him on speakerphone so we would all know what was going on. He is in the car industry, and he was able to be near a TV and a computer to keep us on the up and up. Enterprise High School is a very, very large campus, a very large school. And so we had an administrator or a principal on every one of the halls. So at 1 o'clock, we were supposed to get out before the next bad round of weather came, but we were unable to do that because there was yet another round of warnings. And it had been translated to all of the other halls. There was first, second, third, and fourth hall. And then where I was the science wing, and we had a principal with a walkie talkie that malfunctioned. And so when the head principal, Mr. Rayner, found out that there was an active tornado on the ground, most everybody was able to kind of brace and get down, hunker down, whatever. We did not get that just because, the obviously because of everything that was happening with the weather, the radio signal didn't come to us. So we were all being silly in the hallway. I had the back door of my classroom open just so that we could kind of see a little bit more because it was very, very boring. And we had been there for a very, very long time. And so we were just chit chatting, talking. And then all of a sudden it was like somebody, God turned the light switch off, and it got extraordinarily weird colored very fast. And I have kind of like assorted memories that I remember versus what people have told me because I was actually injured pretty badly. But I had a student that was directly across from me. His name is Keaton Falk. And from that window or that door that was behind me where I was standing, he was able to see that the tornado was coming down on top of us. And my maiden name is Center, like the middle of something. And he had enough time to say, Miss Center, get down. And I was actually on the phone with my dad that my dad had just called, and he was leaving us the, message of there's one on the ground. You need to get down and you need to be safe. And so I was on the phone with him. Keaton said that. I was able to say, it's here. Daddy, I love you, and throw my phone. I had zero time to think. I had zero time to react. And so all I could do is just dive. And I dove face first over a sweet, sweet human named Tegan McDermott. And we just, held on for dear life. We ended up, I'll show you a picture in just a moment, but we ended up being buried underneath a wall to my classroom. The science wing was newer construction. And so when it crumbled and toppled in it did so in kind of a weird way. And we just had an entire wall of cinder blocks that came over on top of us, on top of wires and rebarb and an air conditioning duct system. All of that stuff just immediately started piling on top of Tegan and myself. And all we could do was just hold each other and honestly just pray. I know I'm not supposed to go too religious in a classroom, but I'm me, and so I'm going to. So we didn't really know what to do other than just hold on, hunker down, and pray. As more and more stuff hit us, we just prayed louder and louder, and we told each other that we loved each other. And then what seemed like 37 hours later, it stopped, and it was quiet, and there were no sounds whatsoever. It was the most quiet I've ever seen the world ever. And Tegan and I realized that, we were buried, and so we had to get out. Looking back on what we were able to just pop up from, it is absolutely mind-boggling, especially with how badly I was injured, that we were able to just get up out of it. And I don't exactly know where Tegan went from there because I didn't have to, I went into the mode of trying to get everybody out of the building because we were in a science wing, which means we had chemistry labs, which means there was a massive gas leak that could very quickly turn bad. I had to start triaging, which means just start, looking for people and how to help them. And then my memory kind of goes a little bit wonky because I had a separated shoulder and I had extremely, extremely bad head trauma. And I had no idea how bad it was until somebody came walking towards me 30, 45 minutes later with a roll of paper towels saying, you may want to cover that. And I say all of that, like, scary stuff to say that there is a literal light at the end of the tunnel of things like that, and those are the moments that define your life, not in a negative way, but that you really have to, like, step back and check yourself and see how you're living your life and how you're treating the people around you, and that every bit of that stuff should be predicated upon love and realizing that there legitimately could only be today left for you. And I don't say that to be like macabre or dark. I say that because it's very real. And so that's why I have absolutely no qualms about telling you guys that I love you, trying to keep you safe, and all of that because I did it that day and I would do it again 20 trillion times, um, and not apologize for it. And so fast forward 14 years later, Tegan McDermott and I are still close and we still text and say we love each other. And she has now gone on to be a sixth grade teacher at Challenger Middle School in Huntsville. So when I have mentioned to you guys that we're going to be working with some sixth graders and trying to help them out, that's the classroom that I'm talking about. And you guys don't have access to YouTube, but I'm going to give you the link to this video that I created that shows a pretty cool picture. All right. So that picture right there, that's Tegan right there, and that's me. That was the day that she graduated and she got her high school diploma. And so we ended up being the front page of the Dothan Eagle. And that right there, that is what life is about, celebrating, loving, overcoming, and always trying to find a better version of you to be. And that's why I will tell you guys that I love you 97,000 times. All right. So that picture that is very, very bleak in the background, that is what was left of my classroom. And that is where we were. That is another view of what my classroom looked like. And we were right about there. So, as I said, I don't say these things to be dark and macabre. I say it because I would I would be being untrue to myself if I didn't share things like this with you that have absolutely nothing to do with content. It has nothing to do with coding. It transcends every single ounce of that. Not that what we're doing is unimportant, but there is a bigger theme in our life, and that is what the heck we're going to do with those seconds and minutes and hours that we have been awarded. So never, never forget any of that stuff because that is the true awesome sauce and recipe to living a good and awesome life. All right. So, with all of that being said, and I'll give you guys access to this. Yes, it is actually me singing, and it was the song that had already been determined was going to be the song for prom, which is from a band that you guys probably have never heard of because they weren't popular for super long, but Red Jumpsuit Apparatus. That the song is entitled Your Guardian Angel. So, yes, when you watch this, that is actually me singing, and that is actually Tegan and myself, and real pictures of my classroom. There's another picture, and that was inside of the classroom where you could actually still see my bulletin board that I had my favorite quote from one of my favorite musicals ever, Rent, that literally on the board that day it said, "There's only us, there's only this, forget regret, or life is yours to miss. No other day, no other way, no day but today. And it wasn't until I was released from the hospital and my parents were able to take me back up there to see everything and try to recover things from my classroom that I realized that that was the character education quote that I had on the board that day. Pretty haunting, pretty creepy. Moments that define your life. You can either make them beautiful or you can choose to let your life be identified by the bad stuff that happens to you. I choose the other. I choose to live and I choose to love. And that's why, just like every other day, I'll tell you I love you. All right, so in a matter of seconds, everything in your life can change. Everything you know, everything you love, like a blink of an eye. When everything changes, there comes a choice for each and every one of us to make. We can either stand together or we fall apart. This world may bring deep darkness, but we are all bearers of light. We'll join our flames together and shine in the blackest of night.